welcome back to Elektro. We're at 0 Day Festival and I'm joined by the wonderful Simon Carter and Fabsi.
Hello.
So, hello guys. So you aren't just the project that you are, you've got quite a few projects, haven't you? So,
I have, yeah.
As Simon Carter, you've got Humans Can't Reboot and some other bits and pieces. So tell us about this project. What is this project all about?
This project is specifically about industrial techno. That was the sound that we heard sort of taking shape, kicking off a few years ago, and I thought, yeah, this is something I can pursue. So I started going down that route, and then I thought I want to be different. There's a lot of this sort of industrial techno out there, but a lot of it doesn't have vocals and such. So I thought this is where maybe I can add something a bit different. Happened to meet Fabsi online, heard her voice, and I thought, that's not a bad voice. I think I can use that in some tracks, and we did a couple of tracks, didn't we? And yeah, it just took off really.
Okay, so when you two met online, was it sort of you just talking about music?
We just had a shared interest in the same music, and then yeah, like I say, I think you got grumpy one night and left me a voice message.
Really?
Yeah, and that was the first time I think I'd really heard her voice. And I thought, oh yeah, and I think I sampled that as just a bit of a joke, you know, in a track. And
okay.
yeah, and then we thought, hang on, we could actually do something a bit more serious with this.
So Angry Fabsi was good for techno.
Yeah, definitely.
And is this the first time you've ever sung on a release before?
Yeah, never done any music before.
No, I mean it's good. I mean, everyone sort of read my review, I guess, if you see my website, saying how much I absolutely love industrial techno now more than most other things, and a lot of that's down to these guys. But your voice in We Are the Witches, Vis in the Hexen, like all of them, very, very good. It doesn't sound like it's your first time doing music. So yeah, just wanted to say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to agree. I mean, like I said, when I heard it, and we all know that typical sort of German accent perhaps, but her accent was different. I did, you know, approach her about it. So she said, oh yeah, you're Swabian, and they have slightly more of a singing voice, perhaps like we would consider the Welsh maybe, you know, is a bit more, the accent's a bit more singy-songy. So I was like, yeah, okay, I can hear that. And yeah, we went with it, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did you get into the studio together, or did you just sort of send music back and forth?
We had to do it, yeah, we did it remote. Yeah, I worked on the tracks and came up with a few ideas for, you know, the vocals, and you helped, didn't you, with some lyrics? And yeah.
Had to buy a microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was
Did
really starting from scratch. Yeah.
And I mean, it's quite interesting as well, because mixing that witch aesthetic and the vocals very much about witchcraft and that sort of thing with techno, they're two things that should not work at all.
Yeah.
So how on earth did you come about that agreement of mixing those two together, and how did you get that to work?
It's a fantastic question, because like you've touched on, I've got so many other projects and in so many different other genres, and they do okay, and I've never had that breakthrough, perhaps that niche. And Fabsi is quite witchy. That she enjoys the, you know, the witch aesthetic and that sort of ideal. And I thought maybe we could play on this a bit. You know, let's push it. You know, let's actually bring it together with the music. And yeah, this is what we do. We're doing witchy industrial techno, and it works.
Okay. And having said that, you know, you've done other projects before, and you said there was a point where you thought, this is what I'm going to do. What was the specific moment that both of you thought, industrial music is what I want to do now?
Well, like I say, for me, I think I released that bizarre, you know, beautiful Destruction EP, which was like 10 versions of me just messing about with all different styles, all different genres. But the tracks that people really liked was the industrial version, and I thought, okay, we could be onto something here. And then I just thought, yeah, let's pursue it, because we were just getting positive feedback from everywhere, every direction, which I wasn't so used to before, you know. So yeah, it's good.
And has industrial music been something you've enjoyed for a long time, both of you?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed it, but perhaps I've never made it. Perhaps I've always been slightly more on the dancier side rather than the harsher or industrial side. And this has been a fantastic experience to really delve into that and, you know, expand my repertoire as well. It's been great. I've enjoyed it, and like I said, the reviews all the time for this project are sensational. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. And how about yourself, Gwen?
Yeah, for us it was really good that we had such a similar taste of music. We both like the trancey, dancey stuff and hardstyle and industrial everything, and so we couldn't really decide what we wanted to do. I mean, hardstyle would also be nice for us, but yeah, the industrial gave the best feedback, and so we stayed with that.
I can't remember what it was. I can't remember which bands it were. Maybe someone like Minwi Machine or stuff. But we started hearing this, you know, this style, and we thought this is something we could really get on board with and try and add our influence to, you know, and make it a bit more dancey and suitable for the dance floor. You know, I do think our tracks are suited to the dance floor, and perhaps that doesn't shine through if someone's listening to our tracks, you know, like on a single, on a long play as a playthrough or something. It might, you know, the tracks are often long. That's designed for DJs to mix with a proper intro, outro, etc. Yeah, but I think our tracks really suit the dance floor well.
Yeah, I mean, it is a case of, you know, putting on a techno album is not something everyone just does unless they're sort of getting ready. But what I can say is, you know, when you've got these guys on shuffle and you're driving along and on Spotify, or, you know, just walking somewhere, and one of these guys' songs kicks in, it certainly gives you that beautiful little energy boost for the rest of the day. So yeah, do check them out if you haven't already, because where have you been? Okay. And have you played at Elektro before?
No, I haven't. I've been here several times. I've never DJ'd or played here with any of my other projects. So that was a first. Yeah.
And your first time here too, Fabsi?
Yeah, ever in clubbing too here. Was never before.
I mean, with it being the 35th birthday of Slimelight, have you heard about the venue before?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I mean, I know Steve well, was with him at VGT before, and I mean, I heard a lot of stories from friends, but I was never by myself there.
Okay. And with it being the 35th birthday and venues being in trouble recently, in your own words, could you sort of say what's the most important thing about having places like this?
Oh, you have to keep places like that. I mean, these, you know, we know that Slimelight's the oldest goth club in the world. They say you have to keep it. It's become like an institution almost. You know, if a place like this closed, there'd be people on the streets. You know, but I do understand that. We all understand, in fact, you know, the pressures that we're all under. Sadly, with the current, you know, issues the world faces today. If we were to lose live venues as well, I think the world will become a much sadder place.
Yeah, I think people wouldn't really have that mental health outlet. And
Absolutely.
Be quite a rise in
I think you're
not
right.
being here anymore. So, how about you, Fabsi? How do you feel about sort of these live venues in Germany and all around the world, really?
I mean, we need that really, and it's sad that there are less and less people coming. Yeah, but I for myself was also the last years not really in clubs anymore, but it's a bit sad,
Okay. So for this weekend, who are you most excited to see play, either was it yesterday or this weekend still coming?
That's a good question. We were looking forward to Ashbury Heights, weren't we?
Yeah, and Techno.
And Techno, of course, because George is, as you know, a long-time old friend, so that was fantastic actually to be playing the same event that George was playing at. They were good, Techno were fantastic, Ashbury Heights were fantastic. I wouldn't mind seeing the Pattern Brigade Wolf guys as well, see what they're up to. I know their show's a bit different, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, of course. How about you, Fabsi? Who are you most excited to see this weekend?
Yeah, Techno, of course, and Ashbury Heights.
Yeah, I mean, they were incredible. So Saturday, the day, obviously Simon and these other bands played yesterday, but yeah, Ashbury Heights was incredible, Techno was incredible, as expected. Of course, and so are you guys.
Oh, thank you, yeah, that's why we're so dead this morning.
No worries. Do you have a favourite moment in your musical career, sort of whether it be sort of in a nightclub or playing on stage, just anything really?
Yeah, well, I think a joint one perhaps might be for us is on that Beautiful Destruction EP. I did a hardstyle version and we sent it into Amber D's demo drop, and she played it and she absolutely loved it. She went nuts. She gave it a fantastic review. She couldn't find a single fault with it, and we were both touched because I was so nervous. I thought I saw some of the tracks come before it, which I thought, oh my god, that's better than mine, and then I saw all the comments and how they were picking apart everything. I thought we're in trouble here, but she couldn't find I couldn't believe it. She couldn't find a single issue with it.
That's the problem, isn't it, when you're a musician? You have that imposter syndrome really bad, but when the crowd finally says stuff, you're like, oh God, thank God.
Absolutely. And similar to last night, I still didn't know quite how it would go down, but the feedback was fantastic.
Wonderful. Okay. And is there anything you'd like to achieve with this music project of Simon Carter and Fabsi? Where would you like to see it go?
I think as long as we keep having fun,
Yeah.
and I think we'll keep trying to push the witch element, because I think people actually enjoy that. I mean, we enjoy it, of course, which is why we make it, but I think other people could get into that groove as well. And I'll always try and keep it dance floor friendly. And I think yeah, we'll just keep cracking on, won't we?
Okay. And if you could both collaborate with one artist, whoever that would be, who would you like?
Who would you go for? Do you need thinking time?
They might see this. So.
If it was one of my other projects, if I was doing like one of my trancey projects, I'd love to work with Craig Connolly. I think he's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But in this scene, who would we go for? Who do you think?
Oh my God, Minuet Machine or something.
Minuet Machine would be fantastic.
Or Rain.
Yeah, she's good. She's great.
Rain,
Yeah.
I mean, she was meant to play in Fest, and we were all so
everyone
upset.
gutted. Yeah.
When it comes to making music, what's the most important part of the creative process for you?
That's an interesting one. I mean, I like most people, I start a lot of tracks and end up binning a lot of tracks, until I'm happy with them. I'm also sometimes a bit weird with the way I work. If I can't quite get the track to click, I might actually write to Fabsi and say, listen, can we get a vocal put down first? Which this is not the way almost 99% of musicians work. It's always instrumental first, then vocal. Sometimes if I've got a brain freeze, I try and get the vocal, and then I can work around the vocal and build something up. And sometimes that really helps me to, Wir sind der Hexen that was one where I built the track around the vocal, and it made it, for me again, it was perfect to build in the drops, and it's just dance floor.
I mean, in that sense, it's quite similar to metal bands, because I know a lot of metal bands will sometimes do the guitars and then the vocals, or the vocals and the guitars, and the drummer just does what he can.
Yeah. But I know I've had
everything.
I've had funny looks from a lot of electronic musicians in the past, because it's almost set in stone. It's instrumental, then add the vocals, but sometimes I do it the other way around.
So for recording, that was sometimes not so easy, as I didn't have any melody to do that. I was doing it without anything, just me.
Just your mind.
Yeah. I wouldn't even send her a little piano riff. I'd just say, come on, something completely fresh. Yeah.
Give me vocals now.
Yeah, something fresh. Which, I mean, and Wir sind der Hexen is a perfect example of that, and it worked. It worked a treat.
Yes, exactly. And are there any unsung heroes in the industrial world that you feel deserve a shout out?
I mean, it would be wrong of me not to say George, of course. I think George is fantastic.
George
Techno, absolutely. He's one of the good guys. I've known him so long. He's done numerous remixes for me. He's a pleasure and a gentleman to work with. And he was fantastic in his previous band. Someone like George, he could do with a bit more exposure, I think. Yeah.
I suppose when there's so many nice people on the scene, it's kind of hard to pinpoint someone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that there are numerous people I could call out. And I mean, I worked with Laurie with Studio X for 10 years or almost. We released 3 full albums and I think 6 or 7 EPs. I mean, he's always going to be up there as well. And another one that I think in certain parts of the scene gets good respect, and then others I think he deserves a bit more, for what he's done. And the hard dance that he brings to industrial is no one else does that.
Okay. And is there anything about the industrial scene that you would like to see change? But more importantly, what's the best thing about industrial for you?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? I think maybe speaking perhaps from a slightly selfish point here, I don't know, but it would be nice to see different bands, more bands on the bill for events. Yeah. 0 Day Festival is a perfect example actually, where they've actually gone out their way to try and get a completely different roster of bands that are the usual players that you see at almost every other festival. And there are some fantastic bands out there, smaller bands perhaps that would really benefit from exposure like this, just to get that opportunity, and that would be nice to see.
I mean, as I'm from Germany, I'm going to every German festival, and when you go on really heavy in 1 year, you see some bands really 3 times, and it's just boring after a while. So I also would wish that some bands that normally don't get booked again. Or
yeah, it's quite a common thing actually, because I asked this pretty much the same question at Infest Festival, and a lot of the bands said exactly what you just said. You know, there's a lot of, some of them refer to them as dinosaur bands,
yeah.
but that are always on. That although they bring crowds in,
they do. Yeah, I exactly. I understand. I understand the law, and I understand why promoters would always book these bands. And I wouldn't sit here and say it's an old gentleman's club or whatever. But I sort of understand it. And I guess you can stagnate as well, I think, as a scene, if you continue to just sort of stick on the same path.
And you hit it on the head there. Like, the reason why 0 Day's been so well received is because there's quite a few bands that you don't hardly see.
Yeah.
There's a couple, don't get me wrong, that you will see occasionally, but not all the time.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw Ashbury Heights in the UK.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
14 years since the last show. It's your guys' first live show together.
It is, yeah.
It was Techno's first show together. On stage.
Yeah, so I think we should give Emmerich a shout out. He's really pushing something here. He's trying to be a bit different. He's being brave. Yeah.
Much love to Emmerich.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Right, and lastly, do you have anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Have we got any fans? No, of course we have. Just thank you and keep supporting us. I mean, honestly, just the simple nice word about a song, or how it's touched them, or how it's made them dance, it means the world to us. That's why we do it. We love it.
Wonderful. You too?
Yeah, same.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining me.
Brilliant.
Thank
Thank you.